there's only one thing you take from this conversation, everyone. Just remember that your inherent nature is freedom, it's love, it's joy, it's vitality. That's there. So anything that you're not experiencing like that is because there's something in the way. And that's why I say my work is not about solving problems, it's about dissolving and removing what's in the way of the extraordinary being you already are. Hello.
How are you?
Good, my dear. Nice to see you. It's been a minute.
I know. We need to plan a visit after this, like a proper visit.
That would be pleasant. I would love that. How did your chat with David go?
It was great. It was actually, I think it was our best one, just because we kind of let go of a lot of, some of the notes. I was worried about covering different things for our audience, and just got into the flow of how I normally do interviews and chats with people, as I do with you. And it was really fun. A lot of information came through, and it was just a great energy. We had a great audience. We often have a really great audience. But it was great. So awesome. It was a lot of fun. I don't know if you had a chance to tune into that one.
No, I didn't, but I'm a fan of longevity. It's a part of my work. I help people understand that if they want to be healthy and live a long life, then they have to free their mind. That's obviously my arena. I have a lot of clients who have a lot of cash, and they can afford all of the luxuries and the resources of good food and maybe even chefs and gyms. But if they're still living in a mindset of anxiety or depression or worry, then they're going to get sick. So for me, it's about, getting rid of that sense of internal fight or flight fear, so that you can actually have a vital body.
Yes, oops, sorry, I just pushed the camera up a little high. And that's why, for my audience, and I think most of you already know Peter, we've been on twice now. If you are meeting Peter for the first time today, that's why we're dear friends and so aligned, because that mindset is such a core pillar to all the content, all the education that I teach, part of the protocols and programs that I have for my clients as well. And Peter's approach is so unique. Truly one of a kind. He's a unicorn. And so Peter, for those of you, for the people who haven't yet met you, maybe they're meeting you for the first time today, could you just give just a little insight into your journey, before we dive into this epic mastermind program that you've created for everyone?
Yeah, through my own adversity, we've all had our own trials and tribulations, right? And many people know my story that my parents passed when I was quite young. And so for a long time, I was really living in a state of fight or flight, and everything was a reaction to what my brain was perceiving as a potential threat. And that, to me, is how most people live their lives, right? We listen from a place of survival, like, what is my spouse, my boss, my co-workers, what are they going to do or say that could be in some way perceived as a threat to my own existence? Which sounds dramatic, but that's kind of how people listen. Am I not going to be able to pay rent? Am I going to lose a loved one? Is my partner going to leave me? And so for myself, I really was pushed into that very sort of... At the time, I was 17, so I was very young. So it seemed very dramatic, but it was like it was just me. I didn't have any family, didn't have any friends. And so I really, over the years, learned what it meant to become profoundly at peace with reality and not to be concerned about my future. When people lean into fear and anxiety, which is what a lot of people have, they may call it stress, they may call it worry. There's sort of a continuum, right, of just different levels of fear. But for the most part, it's because the brain is perceiving a worst-case scenario, right? One of my quotes, I say, people are trying to avoid a bad future that hasn't happened yet. Mm-hmm. And in that particular mindset, you have to create some sort of tension, resistance, concern. And then that cascades into our physiology and becomes sickness, right? So I love the word disease, because if you break it down, it's dis-ease, the absence of ease. And in the absence of ease, I am going to be in a state of fight or flight. So really my journey was about transcending that and discovering what it meant to have what I call an intimate relationship with reality, which really is allowing things to be the way they are. Which even if you listen to what I just said, allowing things to be the way they are, it's sort of presumptuous, right? Like, oh, I am allowing life to be the way it is. Well, whether I allow it or not, life is the way it is, right? So you start to then go, oh, okay, my suffering is a direct reflection of the degree to which I'm resisting the way things are. Life is the way it is. It is always the way it is. But then we as human beings have a narrative based on our history, particularly our past traumas, that then we superimpose on top of that, like, oh, I don't want it that way, or they shouldn't have done this, or no, that's bad, that's wrong. And then it's in that dialogue that we create our suffering, which then impacts our health, our relationships, our capacity to earn. So I undo all of that for people, which is pretty profound.
Not only is it profound, I mean, it truly is one of a kind what you do. So I just want to acknowledge the work that you've put in to taking it a step further and creating this mastermind program to facilitate things in another way, to give people yet another tool to really understand what your teaching is. So, I mean, because you've already done so much. So with that, I would love if you could dive into it a little bit more, so people understand what this mastermind program is.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And you're always such a gracious host, and I always enjoy our conversations. And I just want to acknowledge you for, just how professional you are in the way that you use this platform. I think a lot of us have a love-hate relationship with Instagram, but you seem to really make the most of it. So this is a passion project more than anything. I've gotten to do what I've gotten to do for many years. And the one consistent question that has always been in the background that people have asked, whether it be on Instagram or email, is, can you teach us to do what you do, right? And it's sort of been something that I've kept close to my chest. I have a very unique way of helping people to break free of the constraints of their mind. And, but I've always wanted to share because there's nothing more empowering than one helping somebody to break free. I get so much fulfillment from my work. Yeah. But then I wanted to pay that forward so that other people could do it equally for their loved ones, for their kids, for their employees. Obviously, a lot of people are coaches themselves. So that's why I created the mastermind. And it's so incredibly comprehensive because it's over 6 months. I wanted it to be a journey. I wanted us to be a family, that we go through this together. My intuition is telling me that at the end of the 6 months, there will be a lot of tears because we would have gone through so much together that we won't want to separate. So then we're going to have to think of something else. But I'm just so excited. And the number of people who are already registered, who have signed up, it's very touching and very inspiring for me. So really, somebody just said, what is the mastermind? It's a 6-month journey where we're going to look at 4 main arenas of your life. We're going to look at your health, your wealth, which is also your career and your profession, your relationships, whether they be intimate, romantic, family, or otherwise, just how you relate to life, and your personal spaces, meaning like your home, your office, and how they impact your ability to be a thriving human being. So they're the 4 main arenas. And each month is dedicated to a different theme, because I really wanted to curate this journey so that it's lasting. People can go to an event and be inspired by a weekend workshop, or I've done workshops for one day, and it's helpful, but I wanted it to be a journey together. So the first month is dedicated to inspiration. It's about creating new possibilities in those 4 arenas. The next month is what I call information. So if we're going to transform anybody's life, and I really want people to get value, by the way, out of this live. I don't want this just to be, me pitching my mastermind. That's not the intention. I want you to be able to take things away with you today. So, but month 2 is information. Now, what that means is, as human beings, we accumulate over time different narratives, beliefs, and stories about ourselves. So that's the database that we think of as who we are. Now, invariably, that information we have about ourselves is limited. Right? It's based in inadequacy. I'm not enough. Right. It's based in insecurity. Oh, I'm not feeling safe. Or it's based in scarcity. I don't have enough, whether it be possessions, money, or value. Love, exactly. Totally. So So that's where we're going to sort of bring together where is everybody right now in terms of their own view of themselves. And it's just a default setting in being human that most people's view of themselves isn't amazing. People aren't walking around thinking I'm God's gift to everything, right? Which, of course, we don't want to lean into arrogance, but you get the point. Most people are coming from some sort of constraint. Then month 3 will be dedicated to investigation. So this is the really cool part, because we take what did you want as a possibility, what's currently in the way, like, oh, well, my brother got more attention than me when I was younger because he was smarter, he was the better athlete, or my dad was never around, he was always working so hard that I never felt like I was loved, and now it's impacting my relationships. So whatever's in the way, month 3, we start to investigate the validity of it. Right? We want to start to look at, is it really true that who you are is not good enough? And I'm going to give everyone a free bonus here. No, it's not true. They're not good enough, right? It's just a story. So that's then we start to crack the dam that holds people back. Month 4, now we start to implement new behaviors, right? When you go see an expert, usually they will first of all tell you, oh, we'll do this, don't do that. You know, if you want to quit smoking, you know, try meditation, and they'll give you instructions. But that's very hard for people to implement because you're putting it on top of these deep-seated views of yourself, right? Which is why it's short-lived. Even New Year's resolution, right? We're just into February. How many people have already fallen short of their New Year's resolutions because they didn't address the deep-seated programming of the subconscious, which is what I'm going to do in this mastermind. Right. So we'll investigate the validity, and then we'll start to implement new actions from a place of who would you be in the absence of the things that hold you back. Now, what I just said is very profound, and people get it. Who would you be in the absence of the things that hold you back? Right? So the first thing that most people think of is like, wow, I'd be completely free. You know, I would be like completely like liberated. Right. So that then inspires new actions. And then with new actions, we start to lead into month 5, which is interaction. So you're going to have different relationships. It's going to improve the way that you communicate. You're going to be a better listener, and you start to inspire your own community in terms of what is now possible for you, and also the way that they view you. Month 6 is now we integrate it all together. So you literally come out of the mastermind with a new perspective, a new way of relating to yourself, and a new way of relating to life. So very thorough. And this is where I keep putting it this way. I think it's going to be the most powerful journey most people will have ever been on.
And I second that. You know, just listening to it, and it makes so much sense. And for myself, I do things differently. I do things from like a nutritional perspective, but it's the same. The way you break it down and build up is very much the same. You know, you can't just implement something. You have to kind of cleanse out the old, and it's almost like detoxing, right? So that you have this clean slate to work with. You mentioned community, and I'd like to know if you could dive a little bit more into that. Will this be interactive? People will be able to engage with each other. Obviously, they're able to engage with you, because I think that's so beautiful that you're creating a family around this. And I think there will be questions about that, like how will people be able to engage with each other here?
Yeah, that's the thing that I'm most excited about is it will be the first time, not only the first time that I'm sharing my methodology, which is very unique. You know, why do I get to, like, you know, the guy from the Yankees here who's on the live with us, who, you know, I'll let him tell his story someday in public, but we took his quote unquote worries, he was not doing well, and, you know, got him to what's called an ERA, run average, that was less than 2, which is all-star level, because we changed his mindset. Now, why do I get to work with extremely talented, gifted performers around the world? Is because I've got this unique approach. So this is the first time, 1, I'm sharing it, but 2, to your point, it's the first time it will be live engagement, right? It's online, so people can join from anywhere. But the workshops that I've done so far on anxiety, depression, about health, about relationships have all been incredibly well received and very successful, for which I'm incredibly grateful. But I've just been speaking to a laptop, and people have been on the other end somewhere in, you know, Dubai to Pakistan to Australia to England to wherever, and there's no interaction, not even comments. Like here, at least we get some stories or people saying things. So this will be live. I will coach people live in the group. So we'll pick certain people who have whatever their issue that they're dealing with, and then I'll coach them. Everyone will vicariously witness this and get to experience the same degree of freedom that I'll bring somebody. But then this is about I'm excited about. Then we'll unpack it. Then I'll explain how did I take that person from a position of feeling worthless or anxious or depressed to the experience of true freedom, so that then people not only get their own version, because they're going to have their issue with their spouse or their issue with their boss, right? Or their own sort of physiological sickness. So once we undo that, then then the group will be able to open up to questions. And the way I've actually formatted the mastermind over time is we have kind of like the lecture and the teaching and the coaching component. And then in the afternoon, we're going to do Q&A. So then it's all interactive. And wait, there's more. Sound like an infomercial.
No.
Everybody
wants to know.
Right, I know. People want to know, which is great. So we've never done this either. We've actually created a custom community in the background. So whoever is in the mastermind, whoever's a participant, will be in the mastermind community. So you get to interact with everybody. We've created specific groups. So you're more interested in being a parent, a coach, are you a teacher? What do you want to focus on the most? So there's focus groups inside of it. And then I will jump in and communicate with the group. I'll drop in at least once a week a video to keep people on track. But what I love is people get to know each other. People will share a video about what they're dealing with. They can support one another. And that's what I said at the end of the 6 months, I think everyone will be like, wait, I don't want to go. This is a group of like-minded people dedicated to living an amazing life, which in the world we live today is quite unusual.
Yes, that's absolutely brilliant that you did that, just to admit, because I know just with, I do work in a slightly different way, but with the same, with the same goal, mission and mission to serve. Sometimes it's not digestible for people. So I love that's so brilliant that you've broken it down into these focus groups, and people can pop into these groups and then also be a part of the larger community. That's so amazing.
I wanted, as much as I'm obviously the curator of this experience, I'm the mind architect, teaching people the mechanics of the mind and what holds us back in life and how do we break free. That's the lecture component. That's inspiring. That's profound. That's mind-blowing for people. But I want people to connect with like-minded people. I want people to be able to share their story. I want people to feel the community of support. And that's going to be really important, that people really respect the space, because people will be vulnerable. Like I speak to people who've had all sorts of horrific childhoods, from sexual abuse to being abandoned to being adopted or orphaned. And, there's a lot that we go through. And I really want people to be in a container where they feel safe, they feel held, and they feel supported. And that to me is one of the biggest assets of this mastermind group for 6 months, is that you'll be with a family of people who can relate to you, who've been through their own things but want to transcend it.
And that's so important, so needed. And I really think, especially with this community that we're sharing today, I just want to acknowledge you guys for being on here and being so supportive. There's been so many people that have said that they've already signed up.
I know, I've seen that. It's amazing.
It's so fantastic. You guys are amazing because you're using the tools. You're taking an opportunity to not only empower yourself but empower the people that you love. And the questions about certification. This is not a certification program. This is a guide. This is how would you say this is like a guided? How would you say this? This is more like it's just sharing with people your methodologies to do what you do. They can do it for themselves, and they can do it for their community and their loved ones. But it's not about...
the reason being is because this is the first biggest offering I've done like this. Like, I've done little workshops, but I'll be flat out honest with people. If I did a certification program, it would be a lot more expensive. Like, there's friends of mine who are coaches, and they're charging $11,000, $12,000. And then there was a program in Santa Monica, not that far from me, where they did a spiritual psychology certification, but it's like $20,000 for the year,
Right.
So my mastermind isn't cheap, but we wanted to make it affordable and people can pay per month so that they don't have to feel this big chunk. And I wanted it to be a kind of a hybrid of like, look, most people want to be able to do the work for themselves first. That's the most important, right? If you want to find love in relationships, you've got to find love for yourself. But I also want to give people the tools and let them understand how they can implement it with other people. So in the future, for sure, I'll probably do a much more comprehensive, it might be a year or 2 year actual certification, but there's a lot more legal stuff in all of that, and I want to make sure that people feel protected. And this is as good as it gets for a attainable price, but you can still walk away with freedom for yourself and knowing how to bring freedom for others. And that to me, and be part of a community that's dedicated to the same thing. So that's why we wanted to find that happy medium.
Yeah, and I just want to take a moment to actually acknowledge that publicly to the audience at least, that you have so much integrity about it, and that you really want to make sure that when that time comes and you offer some sort of certification, it's not how maybe some others offer certifications, it's done very properly, and so that there's so much integrity in that. And again, just to echo what you're saying, the most important piece of what you're getting is in the knowledge that you're going to learn. It's not going to be in this piece of paper at the end of 6 months. It's the fact that your life will have changed and that you'll have the ability to help others change their lives too. So that's the most important part of this, and the community that you're building from it. So thank you for that, and thank you for just doing everything with the utmost care, as you always do, to offer the very best that you can. You're always over-delivering. So
I mean, it's the part of being a recovering perfectionist when I was younger, right? Like I just want to make sure that I make everybody feel taken care of. I just, I'm a very sensitive guy, and I want to make sure that people get more than they even anticipate, which is always the case because the very nature of my work is to reveal blind spots for people, right? So people might know that they're struggling with a health issue or finances or relationships. They might know that, but they don't know why. And so when we reveal what is the deepest subconscious limitation, it's a primal part of being human, and then that gets dissolved, then you literally step into this new world on the other side of limitation. And that to me is why I love what I get to do. So to be able to teach that to people is, for me, it's so exciting. What I've been so touched by, I mean, even here, how many people have said, I've already registered, I'm going to register. It's like, and the fact that I think it hit a bit too hard this morning, and the technical issues, but it's just how many people are dedicated to wanting to be free, to wanting to feel at peace, to wanting to help others, even if it's not professionally. Like, who doesn't want to help their kids to not feel inadequate and to have the greatest form of success in the future? So that's why I'm excited. Whoever it is, whether I don't know how many people are going to be there, but it's going to be amazing, and I will deliver 100%.
Yes, and I'm so excited for everyone. I think this is a part of another way we are such kindred souls. Also recovering perfectionists and do a lot of the same things, always wanting to over deliver. And why I do this, just to get as much content and tools as possible to people so that they can enhance their lives and others.
We want to make sure, as I said, that everybody feels held, everybody feels supported, and my guarantee is that people will come out of this and realize that it was one of the most profound experiences of their life.
Yeah, and that again, for some of the comments that came through about coaching, that's really what the ultimate goal is coming out of this, that you will have this incredible experience and these tools. And so, for those of you that a lot of questions about, again, the coaching certification, that's not by design what this is meant to be, and that'll come a little bit later. So
we'll do that maybe in the future. It will just be that to me is like, that's going to be like a proper school, right? Like that's a real commitment. That's where people truly are committed to their career. They're going to invest a lot of money. I mean, people pay $50, $60, $100 grand to go to college. It's like, and they often don't even use what they go to study. So I want to make sure that if I'm going to do something like that people really have the tools. They know how to start a business, all of the rest of it. This is really to facilitate people in their own life predominantly, but give them so much information that if they're a coach, if they're a teacher, if they're an executive, if they have employees, if they're a parent, meaning if you're somebody that has a difference or can make a difference in the life of others, which is going to be most people, now even if you're a better listener, you're going to change people's lives, right? And that's going to be a very small component of this. So I really wanted this to be such a great value, but not a huge commitment that people felt either, that they couldn't keep up with it time-wise, they couldn't keep up with it financially, they couldn't keep up with it in terms of information. So this is a perfect hybrid for people to start to understand the power of the mind, what holds us back, and how to break free.
And so thoughtfully done. I agree with you. Sometimes when I'm working with people, we're just doing one change at a time, so, and then two, and then three, so it can be sustainable. It's something that doesn't feel overwhelming.
Yeah, because there's so many people who want to understand the mechanics of what holds them back and use my methodology to help them break free and discover newfound sense of peace and newfound sense of freedom. So we didn't want to say, hey, we're limiting it to X because I just don't like upsetting people.
Right.
That's not fun either. I'm all about the more the merrier. And this is the one thing that we haven't shared that readily yet, but I want people to hear this. Mm-hmm. I am so moved by the number of people who want to make a difference.
Yeah.
And that's this kind of person who wants to sign up, right? Somebody who wants to make a difference in their own life, but also in the lives of others. So we've actually partnered, and I have mentioned this, but not publicly. So we've partnered with the Compassion Prison Project. Now, if anybody has followed a workshop of mine or seen me on a podcast, I have often talked about a video called Step Inside the Circle. If you've never watched it, then I highly recommend that you check it out. Step Inside the Circle. It's so profound.
So profound.
But it's really about this woman called Frixie who goes into prisons to help inmates to basically deal with their traumas and their emotions, which is, part of my work. Mm-hmm. So the reason I'm bringing that up is I partnered with Frixie and Compassion Prison Project, and this is why. Because we will, as a group, this will be one of the most profound experiences for people as I get them out of the prison of their own mind, right? This is what the work is going to be. We're all walking around in prisons and I help people to escape. So I thought, what better gift than for every person that signs up for the mastermind, we are equally going to donate my most popular workshop called Free Your Future to an inmate. Which it gives me chills. So when you sign up, you know that you are actually also helping someone either in prison or who's just recently come out of prison and is struggling to integrate into society. So we're going to donate, as I said, Free Your Future, my most popular workshop, or one of them, so that they have a sense of newfound possibility, having either just come out of prison or being in prison and wanting to have a sense of possibility of their future, whilst we as a group help everyone break out of the prison of their mind. And so for me, that, I just feel so blessed that we can do that as a group. And I wanted people to know that because it's a wow, because those people in prison would never have the opportunity likely to get into a mastermind group like this. But now they have a chance of discovering what it means to be so free.
Wow, that is just so beautiful, Peter. Thank you. I mean, we have so many comments coming in that just love that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know that, and thank you for sharing that here. And is it okay that we share that when we do a summary of the replay and when we post the
Please. Please.
Great. So maybe your team can send my team just a little blurb about the organization and what happened, so that we have all those detailed. We put the replay out. We can even update the captions everywhere to make sure that people know that not only you're helping someone else, and that's so beautiful. Thank you so much.
I just saw a comment there. It's just, this speaks to why I'm doing it. They said they had a friend who's just come out of jail and is really struggling to reintegrate to life. Right? Mm-hmm. And it's invariably because if you watch the video, Step Inside the Circle, what I realized when I watched it, and I was so moved, I was actually moved to tears, is she puts everyone in a circle. She asks the most beautiful but difficult questions like, were you raised by a single parent? Were either of your parents drug addicts? Were you ever hit as a child? Were you dismissed as a child? Were you emotionally abused? And if it's yes to any of the questions, they have to take a step.
Right.
And what you notice is they're all taking steps almost every time.
Yeah.
And what really hit me is these inmates, they never stand a chance because they were never taught the language of self-worth. They were never taught the language of love. They were never acknowledged. They only knew how to survive, and they had to join a gang, and then they got into crime as a form of pure self-preservation. So I want to be able to shift that narrative for these people, for them to feel like, wow, somebody that they've never met before, by virtue of signing on a mastermind, is making a difference in the life of someone who honestly probably has never felt seen or heard. And so that to me is why I wanted to do this.
Wow, that's just so beautiful. Thank you.
There's so many people out there who don't know what it means to be loved. They just don't. They were never taught that language. And I was blessed to have, albeit my parents passed when I was very young, I was blessed to be told and taught what it meant to be loved. My dad adored me. My mum, she adored me, but I was 7. I didn't know my relationship with my mum, but at least I was given the fabric of what it means to be loved. So I want to pay that forward to people in prison who probably never had that. And this group collectively, we can do that.
100%. And even beyond the gift of donating that to someone in that organization or coming out of prison, just everything that we're learning through your program, that's a whole other layer that we'll be able to kind of continue giving that gift to others just by sharing the knowledge that you share with us.
It's just to pay it forward, right? I mean, beyond helping people who are in prison or just recently out trying to integrate, whoever does join in the mastermind, and hopefully people today, even if they don't join, the mastermind, it's okay. I want you to be able to take something away from today, which is that as a world, as a species, we have a lot of room for growth as it relates to being more kind, more loving, more valuing, so that then, I've often said the greatest gift that we can give the world is self-respect. Because if you have self-respect, then you extend that to others. And a lot of people, because of the narratives in their head of inadequacy, insecurity, and scarcity, don't treat themselves that well, and then they wonder why they project that into other people and their relationships don't work. So if I can help people to find that deep-seated sense of real self-worth and real freedom and real love, then the ripple effects of that are never-ending.
Never-ending. And continually giving too, It's just
we're just trying to make the world a better place, Boy, do we need it right now. The madness that's going on out there. Yeah.
It is, and it's so needed. So every way that we can do that, and all the touch points of that they're so valuable. And again, your work is so profound.
Thank you, my dear. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much again. So for everyone who's here, people have kind of bounced in and out. If you don't already follow Peter, you must go to the pinned comment that I have here and follow Peter. And in his link in bio, you will find the link to his mastermind program, which, I mean, it's obvious to everyone in my world that we're going to be doing this. But I really, really highly suggest that you guys do it as well, not just for yourselves, but for those around you. And now we also know that you can help someone who didn't have a chance from the very start. Someone who's in prison or coming out of prison. So many layers of kindness, so many layers of compassion for ourselves and for others. So it's such a beautiful thing.
And I want to just acknowledge you again for what you do, for the way that you professionally curate these events. You have amazing people on. I feel blessed to have you as a friend. I want to thank everybody who showed up and took time out of the day to listen. I hope you got something from it. Whether you are able to join the mastermind or not, I send so much love. I hope that you got something from just this conversation. There is a ton of free content on my Instagram, on my YouTube. So please feel free to use it so that you can have a more inspiring and free life. And if you join the mastermind, then I can't wait to see you on what's going to be one of the most profound 6 months of anybody's life.
Yes. I can't wait. So thank you so much. And you guys, Peter and I have also done a couple of other chats online, so you can always go and watch those replays. but he has so much incredible content that's all free. So if you need to kind of just check it out a little bit before you make a decision to join the mastermind, I highly recommend that you do. So much amazing content. So thank you so much, Peter. It's so good to see you.
You too. Much love to everyone. And just if there's only one thing you take from this conversation, everyone, just remember that your inherent nature is freedom. It's love. It's joy. It's vitality. That's there. So anything that you're not experiencing like that is because there's something in the way. And that's why I say my work is not about solving problems. It's about dissolving and removing what's in the way of the extraordinary being you already are.
Yes, thank you. Oh, and one more thing. This is what we'll close on. People said, when does it start?
Well, actually, the card just opened today, and the kickoff day is 26th, 2 Saturdays. 26. So it's coming up. So the card will be open for like 5 days or so, 6 days, so people can think about it, or many people have already jumped in, which is so cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be starting off on Saturday, and then we'll be right into it. You'll have homework assignments, you'll have worksheets, you're as they say in what is it? What's the? I was going to say Alice in Wonderland, isn't it? Like Kansas is going bye-bye, right? So whatever's holding you back in life, it's out of here.
Yes. All right. So sign up. There's 5 days to do it. Go check out all the content. As soon as you do, you'll know why you need to join this program. And I'm so excited. And on the 26th, so February 26th.
That's the first day. But the call will close a few days before that. But yeah. And thank you everyone for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Much love.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.